Hey YouTube, this is Gracie and welcome back to my channel. I don't know about you guys, but I've been thoroughly enjoying watching the show Loki on Disney+. I love how dark and grungy it is, how futuristic, and also how funny it is. It kind of reminds me of the movie The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the 2005 version. So I highly recommend checking it out if you haven't done so already. It's a good time. I've been really enjoying it. So since we've been talking about Loki, I thought in today's video, I would show you how I'm going to make the Tesseract. So to start out, I'm going to be using these magnifying sheets that I got from the dollar store. I thought the texture and the magnifying aspect of it would be really cool for the Tesseract. And I'm going to try to use some alcohol inks and stuff to make it swirly and kind of cloudy for the inside. But if these sheets don't work out and don't take to those inks, then I have a backup plan. This is my backup plan. These sheets are only $1.49 over at Hobby Lobby, and we're gonna try out and see which one works. You'll see as we carry on with this video which one works out. If this one does in fact work out, the one from the dollar store, then I will probably still make the second one with the Hobby Lobby sheets. And if that's the case, you could check out my Instagram account and I'll post pictures of that. It is at Gracie_Harrold_. And you could give me a little follow over on Instagram and see how that one turns out. But to start out, we're gonna take these magnifying sheets and see if we can cut them down to size a little bit more, because the Tesseract is actually the size which should fit in your hand. And this is just a little bit too long, a little bit too rectangular, and we want it more square. So I'm gonna see if I can trim off these edges and kind of get it more of a square shape. But if we can't, I'm okay with the shape as well. We'll see how it works. I usually fly by the seat of my pants for these videos, and today is definitely no exception. So let's go ahead and try this out, and we'll see how it goes. So to make the Tesseract, I want to make it a cube, like I said before. And in measuring these plastic sheets, they're approximately 9.5 by 6.5. So I think I'm going to actually cut them down to be a 6 by 6 square, which possibly will end up looking something like this. So it'll be around this size in the middle here. So I'm going to go ahead and measure these out and then get to cutting. Now that I have everything cut out, this is going to be the fun part, but potentially also the frustrating part, because I don't know for sure what is going to stick to this plastic stuff. So I think what I'm going to do, the smartest thing, is to leave the smooth surface for the outside of the Tesseract and then have that textured side on the inside. So hopefully all of these different inks and stuff will adhere to that. And maybe we'll get some good swirling going on and some little dabs on there. So I'm going to try and make something out of this. So since I am unsure of how this is all going to stick to the plastic, I'm actually going to use one of the pieces that I cut, wearing gloves so I don't get blue hands. I'm going to use this as a sample and try out all the different inks on here to see what's going to work. So the test results are back and the verdict is in. The inks and stuff are not going to work. They definitely did not adhere very well to the plastic. You can see some color, and I'm hoping that the camera is picking this up, but it's just not exactly what I was hoping for. But the paint worked beautifully. So I think if I do it correctly, if I do it just right, I'll be able to get the effect that I'm going for, which again is that like swirly, blotchy blue color scheme going. So the colors that I think I'm going to be using for that is my Craft Smart Vanilla Paint, Sailing Sky Blue, Then I'm going to use a little bit of peacock blue, and lastly, a little bit of the Mediterranean blue. So these will be the paints that I'm going to be swirling and blotching throughout this project, which is great because I have a lot of it. So it should last me throughout this whole thing. Looking back at some of the pictures of the Tesseract, it looks like the light source definitely comes from the middle and the most white is in the middle, but I am going to be doing some of it sporadically throughout the rest of it, and then the rest of the blues just kind of there as well. I'm going to be doing like little dabs, like little like wispy splotches to start, and then hopefully blending a little bit at the end. Before I forget, we also need to make a hole for the little like fairy lights to go into. So I think I'm going to start by doing that. I'm just taking a traditional hole puncher and I'm just going to punch a little hole in a corner here. Not too far out to the corner because we're going to be using some stabilizers to make sure that that's all secure. So we want to leave enough room to play around with that. So I'm going to try and just get it in the corner, but not too close. And there we have it. Hopefully that worked. There we go. So we have our hole to run our fairy lights or glimmer strings through, and I'm going to get to painting now.
Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room, you can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes.
So here are all four sides of our Tesseract. This is the smooth side facing up. I wanted it to be a little blotchy and stuff, so I think that this is pretty good. I'm going to be attempting to put these lights inside. These are a little bit of a blue tint to them, so that will add to the blue effect. And then I'm going to be using straws to build our Tesseract. So I'm going to be using clear straws that I've had just lying around. That way it doesn't, show too much, hopefully. And then I think I'm going to be using double-sided tape and then maybe even some EOS 6000 glue. So let's get to it. I've gone ahead and cut all of my straws in half. That way I have enough for all of the sides, which hopefully I will, but if not, that's okay. I'll figure out something else. So I think what I'm going to do is put some double-sided tape on here and then just piece it together. Yeah, we may need to use the EOS 6000 just to stabilize it because I don't think this is going to hold completely. So because that wasn't working out very well, I'm leaving this piece aside. Even though it has some glue on it, it should be okay, I hope. And I've started out just by putting all the straws on this piece here. And I'm hoping that once this all dries, I used the EOS 6000 and just glued all of the straws down. Once this all dries, I'm hoping that I can piece the next square to it and just kind of like slowly build it together. So I have connected 3 pieces so far and I'm already out of clear straws. So I ran over to the dollar store to get more. They don't have any. So instead I'm just going to be using some white straws. And I also realized that I didn't have enough of these plastic sheets. And you may have been screaming that at me since the beginning of the video saying, hey Gracie, a cube has more than 4 sides. Well, you're right. And I just wasn't thinking about it. So I did get a couple more sheets and cut them down and painted them. So we'll have enough to finish. But for now, I'm going to continue building this cube using the white straws that I got from the dollar store. one last little update before I finish building the cube. I wanted to show you this piece that I painted. It is completely just like a big swirl, and I really like how it turned out. I'm going to actually use a light blue and paint over all of the cube pieces just to have it a solid background, and I'm hoping that that will make it look a little more like this, with it still having its swirls that I originally wanted. So I'm gonna try it, and hopefully it doesn't ruin it.
It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave.
Another thing I thought about doing was using this as the inside piece to kind of stabilize everything, and then also be able to run the lights through here. So I think I'm going to add some random holes just so I can have the lights kind of like stick through. I might just do 4 sides. That way the lights, you know, don't just like fall down, you know, gravity pulling it down, and hopefully it will add a better glow once it's lit up. So this is kind of my thought process. If it doesn't work, then I just punched a bunch of holes for no reason. But I think this will help also with, like I said, the sturdiness of the box. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that into the center and hope it stays. As you can see, I've put the middle piece in, and I've already run the lights through here. That way they can go inside. Just kind of shove them in at this point. The middle part is not quite staying where I want it to be, but that's okay. I'm okay with it. So now I am going to close the top and we'll be done. And I wanted to mention really quick that I don't want to have this permanently closed. So I'm going to leave one side unglued. That way, if I ever need to get back into it and change the lights out for whatever reason, I can get to that and pull everything back out. So I'm just gonna do the 3 sides and leave it kind of like a soft open. So that's what I'm gonna do.